Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I want to do a video talking about this Microtech Siphon 2 pen. When these first came out, when the first siphons came out, I was very interested in these, and it's been years now. This one I think is from 2016. The clip is pretty scratched up, but I did look at that yesterday under the, my little jeweler's loop, and I do believe that's a 2016 model here. But anyway, I've always been interested in these pens. I thought they're really, really cool looking. They have this kind of bolt action feature, okay, and if you look at the front, let me zoom in here for you so you get a little better detail. All right, so as you pull on this bolt action, you can see from the back it's pushing down through the body, and if you look towards the tip, that's where the pen comes out, right? It was just cool. It was different. It was totally different. I never really knew how these worked. I just saw the pictures of them, and I assumed that's how it works. But I also assumed that this was a pocket clip, okay? I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So you have this pocket clip that holds your pen in your pocket or whatever, and then when you want to open it, it extends, and then this thing looks like it might, rest on your hand, so even though it's a small pen, it feels like a big pen, and it's really comfortable, and the whole nine, right? I thought, that's really cool. These pens are around $160, so I never bought one. I was always looking for one in a trade, and no one ever had them in trade until recently. So I finally got one. This is the Siphon 2. From what I understand, the first one did not have this actual dedicated pocket clip, and a lot of guys and gals would just use this bolt action part as a pocket clip. As you would assume, that's what it's for. That's what it looks like, right? If this didn't have a pocket clip on it, if it looked like this, you would say, okay, cool, that acts like a pocket clip. Well, as a lot of people found out and a lot of people mentioned, is that they did use this as a pocket clip and it did not work out very well. As you pull this up, there's a lot of tension that builds towards the top here. Okay, so I mean, it snaps shut. And it looks like it'd be nice and tight, right? But it's not the case. On the bottom end here, it's actually not very tight. There's not a lot of spring tension. Okay, it's all the way on this top right before it, locks in the open position. So what would happen is if you carry this in the pocket as a pocket clip, it kind of flopped around. Okay, it's a little loose again on the tail end here against the body. So the Siphon 2, I want to say they made it just a hair longer, but they put a dedicated pocket clip on here. Okay, so if you want to put this in a pocket, it's a dedicated stiff pocket clip, so it's not going to go anywhere at all. So when I first got this, I mean, kind of the allure is the fact that it is a Microtech, pen. So the name Microtech there, obviously very familiar with their automatic knives and their folders and stuff, even their fixed blades. A company that's very high-end and very detail-oriented, attention to detail, a lot of machining that goes into a lot of their stuff. So right off the bat, you think, okay, it's going to be a really good, high-quality pen. That's why it's $160, right? So I finally got one, and here's my opinions on it. Still think it's cool, but it's kind of a wah, because what I was expecting out of this is not what I got, right? So let me clarify. First of all, it is precision made, and I think it's very nice. There is a lot of attention to detail in here. I think it's unique with this mechanism. Okay, so what happens is, again, as you're pulling up on this bolt action, it's pushing in the pen from the back to the front, exposing the actual tip. Okay, so you can write. Once it is open, again, this extension here is supposed to be so it kind of rests against your hand. But if you look at how my hand is, this is not how I naturally write. This is a very awkward position. It looks like it fits perfectly, but I write like this. So this is nowhere near my hand. Okay, it doesn't matter the orientation, how I, whatever angle I spin it at, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of sticking up there in the wind. So when I write, my hand's down here, and I'm writing, and it does write very well. Mind you, it writes fantastic. It's very comfortable in the hand. There's actually some O-rings built in here, which I'll show you in a second. But it was kind of disappointing because I assumed because it was a small pen, this extension, again, if I held it all the way back here, which is not natural, and I wouldn't write like this, it's just too far, it feels good. It serves its purpose, right? But the fact I write down here, which I think a lot of people do, it just becomes this awkward thing that's just sticking up. Why is that there? Do you know what I'm saying? At this point, it's not serving its purpose, or what I thought its purpose was. So that was a little disappointing for sure. As far as, how it writes, the Siphon 2, I don't know what was in the first one. I want to say it was a Pilot G2, maybe. I can't confirm that 100%. But in the Siphon 2s, if you unscrew the tip here, and there's a lot of threading, so it takes quite a bit to unscrew. That's how you access your insert. These take Fisher space pen inserts, okay, the bullets. So I think that's great because I'm used to these. It writes very well. I can easily replace these. They're fairly inexpensive and stuff. That's cool. So I'm not against that at all. I like the insert a lot. Some people had said, and I don't know if these were early generations or what, but they said that even when this nib was all the way tight down, there was a little bit of play on the front. This one has no play. And I say thank God, because for a $160 pen, it should not have any play. Again, going back to the whole allure of a Microtech item or Microtech product is you have attention to detail and very fine machine work and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so luckily this one has no play at all. It writes fantastic. It's a cool little size and it's different, which is really nice. It's unique. But again, it was a huge disappointment that the whole point really of the design resting in your hand there to make a small pen feel like a big pen and be comfortable and everything, it was just completely lost when I realized that it's not going to rest against my hand. So again, that was a little disappointing, but not the end of the world. It's still a really cool pen. I have a pen collection, so obviously it still fits in there quite nicely. As I mentioned, it is very comfortable. It's kind of a thicker shaft, I guess. The actual pen itself is a little bit on the thicker side, which feels really nice. It's very sturdy in the hand and fills out my fingers, so it's not like super thin or anything. As I mentioned, there's these black O-rings here, or I guess they call them gaskets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. What's kind of cool about that is if you wanted to, you could take a little pick and you can remove these and replace them with different colors. All right, so if you want to go with a different look or a different theme or something, you could do that. You'd have to get the proper size, make sure nice and snug and stuff. But it's just an option, which is cool. There's a ton of different variants on these, like different looks. This one is the black, and I want to say this is the bronzed clip / hardware and all that stuff. I'm not 100% on that. That's what it kind of looks like. It depends on the lighting. Sometimes, like in the video here, it looks pretty much like a titanium color or just stainless steel type color. But I do believe this is the bronzed version with the black shaft, as they call it. So yeah, I mean, it's a good looking pen in my opinion, but there are a ton of different color combos and stuff depending on what look you're going for. So there's a ton of different Siphon 2s. They're not all this color. But yeah, I mean, $160, is it worth it? Probably not for most people. Not really. I just was always interested in it, and I always wanted to get one, and now I have one, and it's kind of like, okay, I get it, and I'm moving on. It happens a lot with knives too. You know what I mean? Like every knife cuts stuff, right? But there's that one knife you just really, really want. It's like, oh, I gotta check that out. And you finally do, and it's like, yeah, it's cool. It's a nice knife and everything, but it's just not quite what you expected. So like I said, the biggest disappointment here is that I wanted to use this function. I really, really wanted to, but it's awkward. It's not how I write. I have to be down a little bit more on there. Also keep in mind too, because this has the pocket clip, I orientate it when I was writing like this, which is like the worst look. If it was like kind of facing down, it's not as bad, but because the pocket clip's on the side, it's rubbing on my hand. So I rotate it so the pocket clip is not making contact with me at all, in which case this thing is sticking straight up. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's still a cool pen. It's still very unique. For most people, you're not going to spend $160 on something like this. If you're really into high-end pens, maybe you will. Now, something to keep in mind across the board is, different strokes for different folks. Just because this doesn't fit my hand like this, doesn't mean it won't fit your hand, okay, like that. Maybe you have larger hands, maybe you hold your pen higher or something. So, even when I'm doing a video on a knife or something, sometimes the reason I don't like something is the exact reason why someone else does. Maybe someone has a knife and they say, you know what, it's really cool and everything, but it's just not comfortable. It might not be comfortable in their hands, but you have different hands. So maybe it's super comfortable in your hand. So, there's always that to consider. So don't, see this video and say, oh man, that stinks. It's not going to, work how I thought it would work either. And another thing too is like, this is not really explained. Like you go to Microtech's website and it doesn't like specifically talk about this. They show the pen and they have some specs and stuff like that. But even when you go with the dealers, it doesn't say like, okay, well, this piece here is supposed to do this and all that. It's just kind of like this guess or this mystery, and I think most people assumed this was also a pocket clip, but it doesn't say it's not a pocket clip. It doesn't say it is a pocket clip. It just says it's a unique bolt action pen, so that's what it is. That's my thoughts and experiences thus far with this Microtech Siphon 2. It's definitely cool and it's definitely different, which I do like. All right, it's unique. However, it's just not what I expected. That's all. So yeah, I just want to touch upon this a little bit. If you've ever seen pictures of this pen and kind of wonder like, oh, how's that work? What's going on with that? Well, now you know. It's got a very cool bolt action, a very unique mechanism there, but that whole arm that's sticking up, number one, it may or may not rest in your hand like you think it would. For me, it doesn't. I think for a lot of people, it doesn't. A lot of people tend to hold their pens like this. But more importantly, whether you see the first one or the second version of it, this does not work very well as a pocket clip. That's why they threw on, excuse me, a dedicated pocket clip for the Siphon 2s. But yeah, I mean, you know, pretty much anything, whether I like it or not, I will always suggest that you check it out for yourself because, you know, just because I may not be into it doesn't mean you won't be. I do like this. I'm like 90% in. You know what I'm saying? Like I really wanted to love it and I was really excited about it. And I, you know, first opened the box and I got it. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I you know, popped it open and I was looking at the tip and everything. And I went, wait a minute, that's not going to work how I thought it was going to work. But whatever, it is what it is. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section if you've tried the Microtech Siphon 2 pen. I will say it is certainly unique, and I'm still very glad I traded for it. So that's pretty much it for now. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take it easy, guys.